Welcome to Enformed Insights, the official podcast of Informian.com and your guide to the world of public records and data analysis. Join our host, Fred Pfeiffer, as he interviews industry experts and shares practical tips for navigating the future of digital information.
Adena Kirkbride, welcome to the Informed Insights podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about LinkLive.AI and your role at the company.
Yeah, thank you, Fred. Yeah, LinkLive is a very exciting platform that we've got. It's a all-in-one AI-enabled communications and contact center platform. We're trusted by the world's most highly regulated industries to securely connect with consumers in the channels of their choice, anything from video, voice, chat, email, SMS, you name it. And my role here is I'm an account executive for sales in the Southwest.
Right. So how does LinkLive.AI stand out in this crowded AI-driven communication space?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So last year we really kicked off and we're continuing this year with AI that matters. We've seen over the years that people have been, you get bolt-on AI pieces and it's really not functional. You get it for the razzle and dazzle of having AI. So our focus is really on improving the overall customer experience as well as the agent's experience. So with tools like our AI chatbot, customers can get answers they need quickly without having to engage an agent. And then the more priority urgent calls can actually go to a live agent as needed. Now on the agent side, we also have access to, they'll have access to our AI via Copilot is what we've named it. It's a native tool of LinkLive. It's not in a Microsoft, but it basically will work with the agent and give them suggested answers based on customer questions to help them resolve the tickets quicker.
Right. What industries benefit the most from LinkLive's AI solutions?
I would say, so we started in the financial space, so financial institutions, but over the last 20 years that we've been in business, we've grown into healthcare and social services as well. So if you think of disaster recovery, having to send out notifications, things like that, we're definitely in social services as well.
Where do you see AI-powered communication heading in the next few years?
I think we are on track to really drive, again, that AI that matters, making AI impactful. I think people got nervous a few years ago when AI started coming into the contact centers because it was more so trying to replace agents. And I think what I see it happening in the future is it's going to empower the agents. There's a lot of agent turnover in the contact center space, customer service space. And so I think helping to empower agents to where they're working on more priority tickets, I think it's going to allow the contact centers to grow. So I do see AI getting more impactful as long as people are, taking the right guidance.
Great. So one of the things that brought you on our radar was your podcast, and I know you've hosted your own podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about it and what was the focus and who was your audience when you started it?
Yeah, so I first started it a few years ago when I worked at NICE in Contact, and I started it to be able to reach more of my partners rather than just the one-on-one phone calls. And what it's kind of transformed to now, me being in direct sales, is I'm giving a platform for potential customers as well as existing customers to join in and not only listen to, we do have focal points about LinkLive, but really what it is about just contact center. I've invited some of my colleagues on that have experience in the space as well, so we can give kind of best practices, what we're seeing as issues in the contact center. And then I also have tried to split it up so it's not just overdrawn PowerPoint slides. I have about, half the time, 15 minutes is spent on showing them some slides of what I've seen in the industry. And then the other half of the time is open discussion. So people can jump in with their own questions. And really the topics come from the audience and even just the conversations I have day to day with customers, with prospects, trying to find out kind of where the pain points are, where they really have questions.
Great. What inspired you to start podcasting and what were some of the biggest lessons you learned from hosting a show?
I started seeing all the webinars. I mean, everybody's trying to get creative now, trying to touch, new clients and existing customers. And so I figured, hey, why not just host my own? And that's kind of where it started. And I would say biggest lesson I learned kind of restarting it at a new company is it's having consistency. So I do try to host it once a month. So if some people can't join 1 month, it's not like I go off the radar. And I think that really helps. I also keep it so people can be anonymous. They can ask questions beforehand if they don't want to speak up during the actual podcast. But I do like to keep it open. And I do listen to topics that people bring up.
Are there any particular memorable guests or moments from your podcast that stand out?
Yeah, my favorite moment, and I'm still working on gaining momentum here, but at Nice, I think my favorite moment was when I had a full a full audience, and it was the first time they actually jumped in and started asking questions, and my partners were actually talking to one another, not just me. We had about 3 or 4 people actually chime in, and it was an open discussion, and I thought that was great. That was the whole point of the podcast.
What skills from podcasting have translated well into your current role at LinkLive.AI?
I think communication, I know that sounds like a big term, but really listening to how people are talking on the podcast, the different questions that they ask, it helps in my day-to-day role as a salesperson, talking in one-on-one conversations, because it's just giving me more knowledge of what people are talking about. And I would say I would recommend it for anybody. I think it's a great way to reach your audience in a wider view and then take those to one-on-one conversations.
Do you see yourself getting back into podcasting in the future, or do you integrate those skills into your work today?
Both, yeah. I'm definitely going to continue the podcast. I love people to join. You don't necessarily have to be in the financial industry or healthcare. If you're interested in learning about contact center, just even topics of what's going on in the industry today, definitely join. I definitely want to continue it. And as the year goes on, my upcoming podcast is going to be on AI. So I try to translate kind of what trends I'm seeing into the podcast. And that way my existing conversations I'm having with my customers translates to the podcast and vice versa.
Really cool. I want to get a little bit now into your career and personal insights. So your professional background, let's talk a little bit about that. What led you to work in AI-driven communication?
So I actually started, it's been a journey. I started in the cybersecurity, eventually moved into the contact center space. In the contact center space, I saw a huge gap in everyday customer service, and where companies were starting to change, they were starting to incorporate AI. And where I landed at LinkLive, it was just a perfect match, because I was looking for a company that was using AI, but it wasn't solely their only thing that they do. They've found a way to really incorporate it throughout the platform. And from here now, each quarter we're developing out new AI tools based on what we're hearing in the market. So I would say, like I said, our team is very focused on making AI impactful. And so that's why I truly enjoy LinkLive and what we're doing.
Great. Looking back on your career, what key decisions or experiences have been most pivotal in shaping where you are today?
Yeah, I would say there's 2 major points in my career that really shaped me as a salesperson. Starting with my first job in tech was with a company called Coupa procurement software. It's not the sexiest, but definitely good lesson. I learned a lot about actually kind of being a sales development rep is really where I started. I started at the ground, and where you're calling 50, 60, 70 times, people a day, and sending emails and sending texts. And it really gave me a baseline of my sales career. When I finally moved into my account executive role, was at Cloudflare cybersecurity. I sat down with the engineers. They were a smaller company, so I got the pleasure of actually being able to utilize the engineers and learning the product inside and out. I think that's a huge piece that's made me a better salesperson, is knowing what I'm selling. It creates the knowledge of the product, actually creates better trust with customers.
What advice would you give the professionals who want to build a career at the intersection of AI, technology, and communication?
I would say take your time building a career. It's kind of cheesy to say, but it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Take every job, every experience, take the good and the bad and learn from it, and listen to your teammates. I've learned so much from my teammates throughout the years. And I would say, just lastly, learn the technology. There are a lot of salespeople out there that, yes, you can sell anything. However, if you know your technology, you're going to continue the trust with your customers. And I've had customers follow me along my career when I've changed companies.
Are there any books, podcasts, or resources that have been particularly influential for you?
Yeah, I would say I'm not a huge reader. However, I do go old school. A great book, I would say, for any salesperson starting out your career, pick up the Challenger Sale. It's very old school, but it'll give you a foundation to start with. I wouldn't say read it like the Bible. There's multiple different sales tools out there and sales techniques you can learn, but that's a good baseline for you. LinkedIn, I feel like for some reason in the past few years, I feel like it's been underutilized, but I'm seeing people get back on it again. It's a fantastic tool. Make sure your profile's updated, make sure you have your full background with the companies you've worked for. And then I would say lastly is Crunchbase. I don't know if a lot of people know about it, but it's a great tool to see what's going on in the tech space, especially startups. You can see funding rounds and things like that and get backgrounds on companies.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of career advice, what would it be?
Oh man, I would say utilize LinkedIn sooner. I regret not kicking it off when I was in college, even just because it's a way for you to tap into networks, not just connecting directly with people out there, but following different companies, following different forums. I think that's the one thing I would definitely have changed is just start it sooner and connect with people.
Adena, this has been such a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, your experiences, and your perspective with us today. It's been great learning more about you, your journey, LinkLive.AI, and the role AI is playing in transforming customer engagement. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience? Where can they connect or find you?
No, I said it a few times here, LinkedIn. LinkedIn's the best way to connect with me. No, and thank you for your time, Fred. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to Informed Insights. To learn more or listen to another episode, please visit Informian.com.